Hello, welcome to The Top Shelf, my Criterion review series. My name is Ernest Whiteman III. I'm a Northern Arapaho filmmaker, artist, writer, and media educator, and we're taking a look at the top shelf of my video collection, which includes my Criterion collection. And as I said, we'll make a new episode every time I gain a new disc to the collection. I've been sort of rebuilding my collection in Blu-ray. What you see behind me are a bunch of DVDs, which I still pull down and watch from time to time. And as a completist, I have to have as many copies of a single film as possible. Today's disc I got for Christmas just recently from my stepdaughter. And just to show you how well she knows me, she knew I wanted today's film, F for Fake by Orson Welles. Now this film holds a dear place in my heart. It's my favorite Orson Welles film, mainly because of what it says about the ideas and concepts of expertise as it pertains to arts markets, and art experts. And I've sort of transitioned this into my own thoughts and ideas about Native American art and arts markets and ideas. Mainly because I always thought that the idea of art in general, much like Wells does, the arts market is sort of this scam that happens. This is the way we instill these in experts to sort of rubber stamp something as authentic or real art, just so our privilege in access to those pieces and the knowledge about those pieces sort of like allows us to exclude others from that sort of privileged positioning. And that is never more clear than in the Native American art world. And so it's sort of like it was an easy transition to make. Of course, I think everybody knows about F for Fake. It was Wells' last completed film. It's basically an essay film. It's not really a documentary, where he talks about these concepts of lying, of forgery, as he discusses the life of both Elmer Deore, who is an art forger who has had many of his own fakes declared authentic, and Clifford Irving, who had done the same thing with a fake biography of Howard Hughes. And the conclusion is probably one of my favorites of all times. I won't spoil it for those of you who have not seen it. But this also, like I said, translated to me the ideas of the idea of authenticity and expertise as it pertains not only to Native American art, but also you can extend that idea out to Native American representation in media, where natives sometimes are so quick to put the stamp of authenticity on a representation that they don't realize that they're actually giving away their knowledge and expertise, and having that pulled out of our own hands. And more so in the native arts market, where all a seller has to do is buy it, and therefore they become the experts on the piece, and therefore it just becomes the commodity that we sell off. And this is our own native cultures, the way we put a lot of our own cultural touchstones, motifs, imagery, cultural beliefs and traditions, religious and spiritual beliefs into pieces of art that are then sold off for others to become the experts on. And it's such a scam that we keep allowing this to happen. We keep taking these sacred objects, these sacred people, and putting them into our art as somehow the big lie of we're not doing this for ourselves, but or we're doing this for ourselves to express ourselves in a traditional manner, when there really isn't anything traditional about the idea of tradition. Tradition changes. Tradition lies to you. And the big lie is that tradition is always the same thing. So, it's this film that really solidified a lot of my thoughts on the idea of what makes Native American art, and what makes Native American representations, Native American representations. So it has unequivocally become my favorite Orson Welles film. Like I said, it's his last completed film, done in 1973, I believe. Talks about Elmer Dory and Clifford Irving. But this allows me a little chance to talk about The Other Side of the Wind. The last film he was sort of working on when he passed away in 1980, I believe. And how that film has gained this sort of like this mythological status of being the last great uncompleted film, and how everybody was talking about it, how it gained this cultural currency of being Welles' most completed film. And then when it was purchased by Netflix and completed by Peter Bogdanovich, who was one of his proteges, it just suddenly just became a film on Netflix, and it lost its entire mythological status, which if you watch the other Netflix documentary about Welles called They'll Love Me When I'm Dead, where he talks about the concept of taking that film and actually just leaving it incomplete so that people talk about it more so, and it stays in the public consciousness and it becomes a cultural touchstone in film, despite not being an actual film, for decades and years to come, which was happening until they actually did complete it. And so I'm kind of sad that The Other Side of the Wind was completed. But enough of my ranting. Those were the main reasons why I purchased the disc in the first place. My short review of it is it's probably the most excellent film on the concepts of expertise and art that I've seen in a while. There's others out there that try to be F for fake, but they just don't have that the idea or the conceit of trying to push that art. It's sort of like when people try to emulate F for fake, it's always about conferring on whoever's making that film, the artist, conferring on them the expertise about art, rather than Welles was saying the whole thing is a scam and artists ourselves are liars in that fact and in that regard. So many have tried but never have come close to being F for fake. And so this is a Blu-ray. Got it for Christmas, like I said before. So let's break out the glasses. Finally got my other readers back. This is from 1975, it says, so I was a couple of years off. It's 88 minutes, color with monaural sound, 1.6 to 1 aspect ratio. Let's see what's in the Blu-ray special features. I don't think they're much different than what's on the Blu-ray or on the DVD special features. It's just that now they're condensed onto one disc. High definition digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack, audio commentary in 2005 by co-writer and star Oya Kodar, who features largely in this film, and director of photography Gary Graver, who really worked himself to death under the yoke of Orson Welles. Introduction from 2005 from filmmaker Peter Bogdanovich. Episode of the talk show Tomorrow from 1975 featuring an exclusive interview with Welles. I think that's new to this. Orson Welles' one-man band documentary from 1995 about Welles' unfinished pictures, and that's where I first heard about Other Side of the Wind. And if you haven't seen One-Man Band, get it. I always love it when they add a whole nother film to these collections. And he had a whole slew of unfinished projects, and that's sort of where I feel the kinship with Welles, is that I have all these projects that are in the works or in need of re-editing or fixing, and I just don't have the time or the money to do it. So I feel a certain kinship with Welles in that certain respects. I always wanted to do a stage play where I play Welles, and I think that would be interesting. Continuing. Almost True, The Noble Art of Forgery, a 52-minute documentary from 1997 about the art forger Elmer Diori. 60 Minutes interview from 2000 with Clifford Irving about his Howard Hughes autobiography hoax. Audio recording of Hughes's 1972 press conference exposing Irving's hoax. An extended 9-minute trailer, plus an essay by critic Jonathan Rosenbaum, who's really a huge follower of Orson Welles, and was, I think, works for the Siskel Center School of the Art Institute. I believe he teaches some courses there here in Chicago. So again, probably my most favorite Orson Welles film. Just peeks in under my top 10 favorite films of all time, which maybe I'll do a top shelf episode on that just to sort of expand it beyond the Criterion collection. So let me know if that's something that interests you. So that's it. Orson Welles, F for Fake, spine number 288. I'll continue whenever I get a new Criterion collection disc. There are many more that I want. I'll always make a new episode. As I've stated before, I have no interest in capping this series. I want it to go on for as long as possible, even into my silver-haired years, and I hope I can do so. I want to thank you all for watching these things. I see a lot of the comments down there, and a lot of the likes that these meager videos get, and I appreciate those. And I do try to comment, or at least like the comments as much as possible, just to show you, to acknowledge that you are out there making the effort to sort of acknowledge these videos. So I want to thank you for that. I'm still working on a long form video on Hara Setsuko, which ties in nicely with this because it's all about, these concepts of what we're seeing is action and illusion. And to sort of go off on another tangent, that's sort of like another reason why I love this film, F for Fake, because it does get to the heart of, this idea of using language to exclude, using knowledge as a privilege to exclude, and, the idea that only people who have of a certain status are allowed to exercise these privileges in the arts markets, and in other avenues such as education, or capitalism, these sort of things, and the idea that the system is broken by privilege. And Welles was one of the first men to sort of like, or at least one of the first filmmakers to address that issue head on. And with this film, S for Fake. And again, spine number 288. Thank you again for watching. I will catch you next time. And I apologize for the longness of my rant in this episode. Thank you.